Hello everyone, I am Sumitra Chetrri, second semester B.Ed trainee of Siliguri Tarai B.Ed College. Today, I am going to discuss an important topic on the United Nations or UN in short. I chose this topic because it is very important in terms of the curriculum of Class 12 Political Science under West Bengal Council of Higher Secondary Education as well as Class 10 Civic curriculum under Indian Certificate of Secondary Education. So now let us see what exactly is United Nations, what are its compositions, its aims and purpose, why it is necessarily formed, its major principles and how does it work. So starting with its compositions, the United Nations is the biggest international organization formed on 24th October 1945 immediately after the Second World War by representatives of 51 countries. Now, out of these 51 countries, India is one of the founding members of United Nations, and currently 193 countries are the member of United Nations along with the two non-member observer states. Remember, non-member observer states are the Holy See, also known as the Vatican City, and the Palestine. Its headquarters is situated in New York City of USA, and other three headquarters are there of UN. It is situated in Geneva in Switzerland, Vienna in Austria, and Nairobi in Kenya. Now let's see what are the aims and purposes of United Nations. The first and crucial aims of United Nations is to maintaining world peace and security and to prevent the future world war. As you can see that these world leaders, those who have witnessed these destructive, massive, calamity, chaos, slaughter of military personnel during these wars has hated so much that they don't want any more world wars or destructions further. So for that reason, keeping that in view, so the world leaders has established the international organizations, that is United Nations, for maintaining peace and security. It also aims at keeping the friendly relations among the nations, to save the succeeding generations from the scars of war, and to help the humanitarian cause forever. Now, here we need to remember one thing, that United Nations is not the first international organization that has been formed to achieve peace and security. Before that and after the First World War, the international organizations known as the League of Nations, as I have written out here, was formed on 10th January 1920 by the victorious Allied power. Though they formed this international league, but this league was incapable of fulfilling the aims. It was incapable of eradicating the World War II. It was, it doesn't fulfill its aims of keeping world peace and failed in it. So that's why it has been disbanded in April 1946. Now, after its composition and aims, let's see what are the major principal organs of United Nations. Like any other international organizations, the United Nations too has its separate flags, its own rules and its own constitutions known as UN Charter. And according to this UN Charter, there are 6 major principal organs of United Nations, and the first and foremost is the General Assembly. General Assembly is the main organ of United Nations, and all the 193 countries have equal representations in General Assembly. Its main functions is to discuss the issue, to make the policies and to approve UN budget. It also appoints Secretary General, which is the executive head, with the help, you can say with the recommendations of Secretary Council. It appoints the Secretary General, and this Secretary General holds the annual meetings from September to December every year in the headquarters of New York City, USA. Now let's move on to the other organ, that is Security Council. Now Security Council consists of 15 members, out of which 5 members are permanent. Those are USA, Britain, Russia, China and France. and other 10 non-permanent members are elected for the term of 2 years. Now these 5 permanent members are you can say very powerful because they hold the veto power. Now what is this veto power is, if any one of this permanent member vote against the against any resolutions, then the motion is held regardless of how everybody else voted. Now let us see the other main organs, that is International Court of Justice. International Court of Justice is a judicial organ and it consists of 15 judges who are appointed for the term period of 9 years. That means after every 9 years the judges are re-elected, and its main functions is to settle the disputes and to give the, you can say, advisory opinions to the member nations. Its headquarters is in Hague, Netherlands. Now let's move on to the Economic and Social Council, also known as Ecosoc. Now Economic and Social Council consists of 54 members elected for the term period of 3 years by General Assembly, and among that 54 members, every year they choose the head of the Ecosoc, and in present scenario Mona Jul is the head of the Ecosoc. Now what is the responsibilities of Ecosoc? The responsibility of Ecosoc is to review the policies, to improve and promote the social and economic well-being of the people, to eradicate the poverty, and to work for the upliftment of the standard of living of the people or the members. Now this Ecosoc has so many specialized agencies which works under it, and those agencies are like International Labour Organizations, International Monetary Fund, UNESCO, World Health Organizations. And we know that right now in this pandemic situations, due to COVID-19 virus, World Health Organization is giving up preventive measures. It is helping in the supply of the you can say medical supplies, and all these reports are submitted, the World Health Organizations will be submitting to the Ecosoc. Now let's move on to the other organs, that is UN Secretariat. Now UN Secretariat is an executive arm of the United Nations, and the General Secretary is the head of the UN Secretariat, who is also the administrative officer. And right now in the current Secretary General of United Nations is Antonio Guterres, who holds the office for the period of 5 years, and after every 5 years the new General Secretary is elected. Last but not the least, we have Trusteeship Council. Now this Trusteeship Council as an organ of United Nations is no longer active. It has been suspended in 1994 because it has served its purpose. It has served to get freedom to the nations. Now every nation is independent, every nation is self-governing. So these were the 6 major principles of United Nations, and I hope this general assessment on United Nations is helpful to you all. Thank you.